Hello and welcome. I'm Kathryn Tucker, a senior nutrition consultant for the Administration for Community Living. Is your organization struggling to meet the increased demands of feeding older adults and balancing your budget? Would you like to expand services and programs but struggle due to the increased expenses like staffing, supplies, and food? If you are, then I'm glad you've joined us. This webinar is part of a series to help the senior nutrition program with containing cost. Today's webinar is the second in the series and will specifically focus on cost containment strategies around purchasing and inventory management. Cost containment may seem like a new term. However, it covers strategies and measures aimed at controlling program expenses while maintaining or enhancing quality services and/or programs. It can cover various practices such as enhancing efficiency, negotiating, cost reduction, optimizing resources, and even adopting technology. And I know that sounds extensive, but cost containment is essential for ensuring financial stability and promoting sustainability of any nonprofit, government, or for-profit business. Proper purchasing and inventory management allows programs the opportunity to save money and even boost staff productivity. Every dollar saved allows you to offer the best food possible and expand services or even offer some extras to make your program more special, like dressing up the tables or offering fresh produce to dress up the meal. It isn't just about saving money, but saving it and being able to offer the best quality with the most effective delivery. And we know that studies have shown that the second most important reason that people attend congregate programs is based on the quality of the meal. We see increasing numbers of generations and diversity within our older adult population. With that comes changes in expectations and increased interest in those flexible meal delivery, which our senior nutrition programs are growing more accustomed to, mainly due to so many new innovations being created every day. Couple that with increased cost of doing business, and we have to continue to be realistic. It's important that when we are looking at our budgets, we should focus changes that don't limit the human factor for which our services are intended. Finding innovative ways to maintain or enhance service levels while folding in cost containment methods is crucial for staying sustainable in this ever-changing environment. Now, I'm thrilled to have a wonderful speaker lined up for you today to guide us through purchasing and inventory management to help our network navigate the cost containment challenges they may be facing. LaTanya Clark is a nutrition and health promotion manager at Maryland Department of Aging. She graduated magna cum laude from the Norfolk State University, Virginia, with a bachelor's of science in chemistry and food science and nutrition. She received her master's of science in dietetics from James Madison University in Harrisonburg, Virginia. She has past experiences in veteran affairs, patient services, healthcare, and senior nutrition. And she has over 25 years of experience working with older adults in nutrition. Today, she'll be presenting on the importance of purchasing and inventory management and its connection to cost containment. LaTanya, thank you for being on the call today, and I look forward to your presentation. The floor is all yours.
Well, thank you so much, Kathryn, for this opportunity to share my knowledge and experience in inventory and purchasing management. And it's a pleasure to be able to share my insights and the lessons that I've learned. Today's objectives will include defining inventory management, explaining its necessity, outlining steps to get started, discussing hidden costs, sharing my real-life lessons, and providing my 5 must-dos. Inventory management may appear to be a straightforward process of counting and organizing items, but it actually requires careful planning, staff training, standardized procedures, and ongoing monitoring and evaluation to ensure a smooth operating system. Our goal is to maintain optimal levels of goods on hand, avoiding shortages and excess inventory, and to not incur unnecessary expenses. Inventory management. To create a successful inventory system, it's essential to have an effective organizational structure in place. When I started working in senior nutrition, our vendor would deliver some boxes of supplies filled with things like paper plates, napkins, cups, as well as sugar substitute, coffee, tea, and other items to 19 different nutrition sites. However, the boxes were often mislabeled or delivered to the wrong locations, which resulted in me receiving calls from site aides letting me know that they didn't receive their supplies. This led to us reordering supplies repeatedly. During one of my monitoring visits to a location, I noticed a cabinet full of Sweet and Low, and I asked why they had so much. Well, it turns out that Sweet and Low was in the box that was sent to them, but they didn't use it. So now, instead of having one site with missing inventory items, I have two sites with missing inventory. The one missing the Sweet and Low and the one with the excess of Sweet and Low. It was then when I knew I needed to correct this problem. Therefore, I decided to have only one centralized storage location instead of 19 to have more control over the inventory. By consolidating the inventory into one location, I was able to identify inefficiencies and take the necessary actions to minimize waste and reduce costs. Having all of the inventory in one location reduced our inventory error rate by 93%. The ultimate goal is to create a high-quality product that provides a great customer experience. To achieve this, we have to strike a balance between quality and cost consideration. Efforts to improve quality and reduce costs are fundamental. Product quality includes three aspects: stability, how often the product is made; performance, how well the product is made; and the customer experience, whether the customer likes the product. On the other hand, cost refers to the expenses that are related to acquiring and producing the product. Now that we've established the importance of inventory and purchasing, let's dive into what is inventory. Inventory refers to all the physical items required to provide services and products for our customers. In food service, this includes fresh foods, dry good items like rice, sugar, canned fruits, spices, beverages, pots and pans, table linens, paper products, and even employee uniforms. It's important to remember that not all items are created equal, and they shouldn't be stored together. Doing so can slow down the inventory process and make it more difficult for staff to locate specific products or items or where to return an item. To ensure efficient counting process and to save time, it's vital that you synchronize your order guide with your stockroom. This makes sure that all products are organized in a manner that makes sense and staff can easily find them. To safeguard the freshness of food and to minimize the risk of spoilage and foodborne illness, have your delivery drivers unload the items in the correct location. This is especially important for perishable items like fresh food and freezer items. Keeping them in cold units reduces the amount of time that they are exposed to the danger zone and thus helps maintain their quality and their safety. So now that we know what inventory is and where we should store it, let's discuss how to get started. To begin with, you need to decide what kind of system you will use to track and record your inventory. Some options are Excel spreadsheets, some vendor printouts, and even handheld systems like scanners. It is always advisable, though, to have a backup plan in the case of a technological failure. You also need to know your product specification and the item number, and to determine when and how orders will be placed. It's important to decide how often you'll do inventory, weekly or twice a week, and establish a schedule for when your orders should arrive and where they should be offloaded. And reconciling inventory is a must. This means matching what has been ordered to what has been used to what remains in your inventory. It's also important to review the data regularly to see if any changes need to be made. When I consolidated my inventory, I saw that we had 3 different sugar substitutes, but we were only using one. So I updated the order form and I removed the other 2. Inventory management means having the right product available at the right time. Keeping your inventory organized and visible helps to prevent overstocking and minimizes losses. It's important to group your items by category and to keep them in plain sight. For example, all mixes such as cake mix and pancake mix should be held together. Number 10 cans should be grouped together and separated by product item. Keeps fruits separate from vegetables and puddings from sauces, especially when the cans look similar. Good space management requires removing items from a box when there's only one item left, such as the last bag of cereal or the last sleeve of cups. Leaving a box on the shelf with just one item in it is not only inefficient, but it's also frustrating when you go to get that item. Proper visibility allows you to see the usage rate of items and simplify your choices like I did with my sugar substitutes. Good visibility enables you to keep track of your inventory levels and to set reorder points or PAR level. PAR, which stands for Periodic Automatic Replacement, is an inventory control tool that lets you set minimum and maximum quantity limits. For example, it's easy to see how many loaves of bread are on the shelf and for you to be able to know what time it is to order. In addition to this, visibility helps you identify theft and damage. When you know you should have 8 loaves of bread and you only see 2, this is an indication that something has happened. Maintaining visibility is essential to avoid overstocking, which eliminates unnecessary expenses and minimizes the risk of running low on a much-needed item. When organizing your space, it's important not only to categorize the items, but to arrange them in their use-by dates. The oldest items should be placed in the front of the shelf and the most recent ones placed in the back. This way, you can ensure that the oldest items are used first before they expire. This reduces waste and ensures that you will always have fresh items available when you need them. FIFO, first in, first out method, makes it easy for staff to quickly find and use the oldest items first, therefore eliminating the need to check expiration dates. To implement this system, it is key to date, organize, and arrange the items in a FIFO method every time the facility receives a new food shipment. This approach will help save time, reduce waste, and ensure that good food is consumed before it goes bad. Hidden costs refers to the expenses incurred in managing and holding inventory over a period of time. And not all inventory carrying costs are easy to identify or measure, as some are direct and not related to purchasing or to production. I dealt with a hidden inventory cost for a catering event at a hospital where I worked. We were going to make s'mores for dessert, and we needed about 10 Hershey chocolate bars. But instead of the chef ordering just 10 Hershey chocolate bars, he ordered 10 pounds of Hershey's chocolate, which was way more than what we needed. So instead of spending $10, we spent $100, and 90% of the chocolate sat on the shelf because it wasn't something that we used before or would use again. And unfortunately, after about maybe 6 months or so, we ended up throwing it out. Hidden costs also can include over-ordering too much of a single item, like 10 pounds of chocolate, overproducing items to save time, special order items or drop shipments. Special order items require discretion because typically they cannot be returned. Ordering the wrong item, like 10 pounds of chocolate. If a wrong item is ordered and caught, it can be refused at delivery and returned to the supplier. Not knowing what your needs are. We needed 10 chocolate bars, not 10 pounds of chocolate. Carrying outdated or out-of-date items. Items with a short shelf life should be ordered as close to the time of production as possible, like fresh fish or deli meats. And theft is another hidden cost. Inspecting a box or container during delivery helps you to avoid receiving damaged goods. Markers, tapes, printer paper are all items used in inventory but not readily thought of as part of the cost. Not calculating the raw material for production. What exactly do you need to make the item? How often will you make this item? Should this be a one-time purchase item? Again, 10 pounds of chocolate versus 10 chocolate bars. Over the years, I've learned some real-world lessons, and I've developed an understanding of why and how managing, monitoring, and maintaining inventory effectively and efficiently is important. And here are some of the lessons that I've learned. It's important to provide protective outerwear when working in a freezer or walk-in refrigerator for an extended period of time. The work can become uncomfortable and even hazardous, particularly when having to reorganize stock. Offering protective gear and parkers to and gloves, offering protective gear like parka and gloves to your staff can reduce exposure to the cold and ensure that the job is done safely. Provide markers to date the items when they're received. Labels should be available to put on items that are not in their original packaging, and tape should be provided so that items can be sealed. In case of missing items, have a readily available substitution list for replacements that staff can use so that production can continue. And whenever possible, buy seasonal items for better pricing options, like berries in the summer and apples in the fall. Successful purchasing and inventory management requires certain must-haves, and here are my top 5. Train your team. Training can make a big difference in how well your business operates. Giving your staff the tool to understand the inventory process, how to track, audit, shelf organization, they'll be able to manage inventory with ease, and it'll create a more balanced and efficient work environment for your staff. Anticipate your needs. This is known as forecasting. This approach allows you to purchase items on sale, prepare for holidays, and to meet staffing requirements, ensuring, again, for a smoother overall operation. To make sure that there's no shortage of supplies, it's helpful to provide a clipboard for your staff so that they can record items that are needed when you go to do your place your order. This helps keep track and prevent any potential shortages. Make certain that your deliveries are safe and can be inspected properly. It's best to schedule them during your slowest periods. This way, you don't have to worry about rushing through the inspection process, and you can take your time in confirming that everything ordered is correct. And finally, pests. Pests are a significant threat to food safety, product quality, and building structures. Prevention is the key. Don't wait to address these concerns when it comes to pests. Act promptly and ensure a safe and secure work environment. So now we've come to the end of the presentation. Thank you for taking the time to listen, and I hope you found the information helpful. It's important to remember that effective inventory management and purchasing can save time, money, increase accuracy, efficiency, productivity, but most importantly, customer satisfaction. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. I can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Thank you for your presentation. And your presentation touched on so many very important topics around purchasing and inventory management. And although this presentation was designed to be a very quick overview, I know this topic can be expanded into hours of training. And I want to thank you for condensing this information into this bite-sized format to hopefully encourage further learning from our attendees. So I would like to ask a couple of quick questions that are often asked within the network. The first question is, how can inventory and purchasing management minimize administrative burdens?
So one of the things about administration, when we think of it, we often think of salaries, wages, and benefits. But one of the things that inventory control can do to reduce your administrative burdens is if you know exactly how much you need, how many servings you need. You can do this by looking at weight or volume. What kind of item do you need? So don't just say you need potatoes. Do you need potato pearls? Do you need canned potatoes? Do you need raw potatoes? And the more accurate the information that you have and knowing your specifications for what it is that you're ordering, the person placing the order can do a better job for you. It saves time from going back and forth asking, is this the one that you wanted? Is that the one that you wanted? So knowing exactly what you need can really help reduce that administrative burden, because often that person placing the order is doing multiple things.
Of course. And how can implementing these strategies help with limited staffing? Because, our network is facing that daily.
Yeah, that is true. So there are several programs that are out there that are available online. Spreadsheet.com, Soho, they offer free inventory management programs where different um, you can load it onto your phone, or if you have a handheld tablet, that this information is already there. And so by training all of your staff, you can hand it off to the next person so that they can go ahead, go into these programs, and they can order what's needed. Having that list that's available of missing items also helps when you're running short on something. And then often having that um, your inventory guide synchronized to your refrigerator or to your storage room or to your freezer also helps so that people can go in and just quickly go right through it and know exactly what it's need. And this is one of the biggest reasons why it's so important to return an item back to its correct place so that you're not, if you know that when you go into the refrigerator, the milk should be sitting on the right-hand side, the eggs should be down on the bottom. That's where your eye wants to go, and then your guide can follow. And that can really, really help when you do have limited staffing because a person can get through it much quicker.
Yes, being in kitchens for most of my career, having to hunt for something is one of the worst things that your staff should have to do.
Yes.
So you touched a little bit on customer satisfaction. What strategies have you seen most effective to improve customer satisfaction with the proper purchasing and inventory management?
Communication. Communication. Hands down, listening and sharing. And when you listen to what your customers are saying and what they want, and seeing how to incorporate those things into your inventory, and also when you know that something is not being used, to reduce that out of your inventory. But also, we think of when we say customer satisfaction, we think of just the person that's receiving the item at the end, but your staff are your customers too. So by having a solid inventory purchasing program in place, it takes the stress off of your staff of wondering, is that item going to be here? Is that item going to be available? And forecasting and knowing in advance what you need, you can have that item brought in and be ready to use it. And in the event that an item is not available, now you have time to pivot. And so when you have time to pivot, you communicate those, typically menus are out by the month. So if we need to pivot, now we can go in and change the menu. And now our customers see that we're communicating with them and they can see if that's something that, they want to join us for lunch that day, or in other cases, they're like, oh, look what they're having. We're all coming to eat that day. So yes, communication, I think, is the key.
Yeah, and whenever the purchasing is not where it needs to be and you don't have the supplies you need and that menu's always changing, it's very frustrating for
It's
your
yes,
participants. So, yes, having that done way ahead. I know most of the programs I was involved in was purchasing 2 weeks in advance, so we
yes,
had time to pivot if need be.
yes, yes.
So along that line of those menu changes, how can providers tackle, because we still have some supply chain issues with some products, to help maintain quality?
Having more than one supplier, more than one avenue of being able to acquire a product um, is almost an absolute must. And also things that you know that you use on a regular basis, um, cups, napkins, plates, those types of things, you can um, you can buy those in larger quantities because you're turning that item over so quickly. So you're not carrying it's not money on the shelf, so to speak. So yeah, so shopping around or working with different vendors, Um, Also, sometimes just telling your vendor, like, can you give me an idea of when this is going to come in, or what's available and what's not available. Sometimes when you're talking, especially when you're talking to your account rep, they have ideas about things that you may not even be aware of, because you're just simply, you've already set your master guide and you're working off of that guide, and you keep finding out, we want, we're trying to get sliced pears. We've been trying to get sliced pears, and sliced pears are not available. When are they going to be in? Just to find out that there's an abundance of diced pears.
Hmm.
So, so you can switch over. So communicating and with your account rep, purchasing those items that you use on a real regular basis, especially ones that will not go bad, which are your dry good items that are used in your daily service, will help you.
Great. LaTanya, thank you so much for this important information. And I'm sure the audience can start thinking about ways they can manage their purchasing and inventory systems to better contain costs. In this evolving environment, our network must continue to not only be nimble in its service delivery, but also business savvy to continue to serve the growing older adult population while controlling the overall cost of services. And many within our network have found business management and cost containment skills can help ensure successful and sustainable operations, resulting in more people served while maintaining higher quality programs. I encourage everyone watching to visit the Nutrition Aging Resource Center webpage at acl.gov/senior nutrition. You can click on Browse Resources once you hit the landing page. Then go to Business Management, and from there you'll find a library of pages available on business skills, contracting, finances, cost containment, and much more. And in the cost containment page, you will find companion pieces such as fundraising for sustainability, upcoming documents, and we'll also have recordings from this webinar series. So be on the lookout for more webinars in this series coming soon on using reusable trays and group purchasing organizations. LaTanya's contact I have on the screen, as well as the web address for the Nutrition Aging Resource Center. I want to thank you for joining us today for purchasing and inventory management strategies to help the senior nutrition program. I hope you found this information helpful. Please reach out if you have any questions, and I hope you have a great day. I cannot wait to see you at the next chat. Thank you.
Thank you.